Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Talk podcast. I'm trying to see from where I'm sitting. First of all, where I'm sitting. I thought I set up the camera pretty well by myself, and then as I sat here, like, my bun gets, like, chopped off from the top, so now I have to sit in this chair kind of slouched, but at the same time, it's kind of comfy, so I'm not really, like, too upset about it. Not enough to get up to fixed the camera. I'm so sorry. It's kind of hard to set this up by yourself. I'm surprised I even got it how I got it by myself. But anyways, I'm trying to see if any microphone picks up. I shut the windows, but it is so loud outside. There's so much traffic. It's like rush hour. It's 4:30. I'm kind of getting ahead on this episode. It is currently Wednesday, so we're doing a little better. It's not Sunday night, but there's so much traffic outside. It's rush hour. Everyone's trying to go home. A lot of people have tomorrow off because when I'm recording this, it is July 3rd. So tomorrow is the 4th of July. A lot of people have it off. A lot of people are just trying to get home. You know, you're out of work. If you know, you know. But with that being said, I hope you guys, by the time you listen to this, have had a good 4th of July, had a good weekend. I hope you were safe, had fun, all that fun stuff. We're bringing JJ to fireworks tonight. This is the first time he's actually, like, gone to sit at fireworks. Obviously, there's been some in the background between 4th of July, the weekend after, the weekend before, whenever people decide to do fireworks. So he's probably heard fireworks in his life, but he hasn't actually gone to fireworks, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of intrigued to see how that goes, because I wonder if they'll be, like, too loud, or if he'll be scared, or if he'll actually, like, enjoy them. So we'll see how it goes. If I remember, part of me doesn't even want to say this, but if I remember, I'll try to update you in the next episode. But honestly, my little pea brain probably will forget. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so I'm really excited for that, actually. I think that'll be super fun. But yeah, there's a lot of traffic. If you can hear the cars and the road and the motorcycles and the honking people are probably going to do, because everyone's in a rush to be at the same place at the same time, I apologize. I'm apologizing now, and if I'm editing and realize that it's really bad, I probably will just scrap this episode, but I'm hoping it can go up. I'm hoping people aren't too obnoxious outside, and everything will be okay. But I'm trying to think. I feel like in the last episode, I talked for so long before actually getting into the episode. So now I feel like I'm talked out. I don't know what to update you guys on. I like to kind of update you in my life before I, like, get right into the episode. But I don't know. Nothing's really happened, because I recorded on Monday, and now it's like 2 days later. So my life isn't as exciting and for anything to happen within 2 days. So I don't think I have anything for you. This episode, again, let me know. I want to know if I'm being annoying with this. It's Instagram inspired. I don't know. Some part of me feels like I'm taking the easy way out with this and just not coming up with my own stuff lately. But at the same time, I'm much more of a, like, you give me, like, prompts or something to talk about, and, like, that's how I'm going to talk about it, which is actually perfect, because, so this episode is from the Instagram. It was serenity.scripts__. That's the Instagram name. Or, like, the @ this is, so we're going to be doing a little mid-year check-in. I saw this, and right off the bat, I was like, genius. I love this. Let's see how we're going this year. We're a little, obviously, past mid-year, considering we just entered July, but I don't know. We're not too far off. Only a month, right? No, not bad. No, They had these questions that they had on a post, and I'm just kind of filling in the blanks. Like, they ask, I'm going to answer type of situation. So that's why I loved this post so much, and I wanted to automatically direct it into the podcast because we're just going to check in. We're going to talk. This is kind of like a deeper talk, if I have to say. I feel like these questions get kind of deep into things and you kind of have to really think and talk about, I don't know, like, I don't know how to describe it. It gets really, like, it just gets you thinking, which I feel like if you really have to think to answer a question, like, you're getting pretty deep with it, if that makes sense. So I saw these and I was like, oh my God, I love this. I obviously, like I just said, I like to catch you guys up on my life and everything that's gone on before I get into the episodes. I try to anyways. And then talking about this stuff, I was like, wow, it's a win-win. Like, it's what I like. You give me prompts, I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to answer it. So with that being said, I guess we're just going to get right into this episode. So the first thing, this is kind of like, I don't know, this is kind of, like I said, we're getting really deep, so to speak, and this is kind of like, it's everything about life. It's your life, it's work life, it's personal life, it's everything. The first question is, what am I holding on to that is limiting me? And I feel like these type of questions, if I'm being honest, gets me really scared, and I don't usually like to talk about it with other people because part of me always like never has an answer, and that's because I feel like I don't force myself to think that deep into things. I get really like blocked off in my own head. Like, I'm like, if I like, I'll just be like, I don't know, but I don't sit there and try to think about the answer. So I feel like part of me really actually like went into myself and was like, no, like, you're going to come up with an answer. We're going to talk about it. You're going to expose yourself. Like, we're just putting everything out there right now. We're going to be very vulnerable and talk about literally anything I probably wouldn't normally talk about. The first thing I had for an answer for this one was my comfort zone. I feel like I talk about it a lot, actually, that I'm just so stuck into my comfort zone. I definitely do not like to push myself out of it because obviously within the name, I'm very comfortable, and me with myself, if I'm comfortable, I'm okay, is how I think about it. I do not like to be uncomfortable. I don't like uncomfortable situations. I don't like confrontation. Like, if I'm comfortable with either a conversation or someone or a certain, I don't know, something, like, I'm doing okay. But if I get pushed out of my comfort zone, or if I have to do something out of my comfort zone, I'm 100% freaking out on the inside. I'd say 8 times out of 10, I'm probably freaking out on the outside as well, because I will not keep it in. I don't know how to contain it within me. I will be like just freaking out all around. So I feel like a lot of the time, me sticking in my comfort zone is limiting me on what I either can do or teach myself to do or learn to do. I just get kind of stuck in my ways. I 100% know that about myself. So I definitely have to keep trying to push myself out of the comfort zone to kind of advance a little more in a lot of areas of my life. The next thing that I had was focusing more on the podcast than on YouTube. If you didn't know, I do have my own YouTube channel. It is just my name if you search it into YouTube. I've been trying to do both, but I feel like trying to balance both has not gone well for me. I do focus 10 times more on the podcast than I do on my YouTube channel, which obviously used to be the opposite because of the fact that I didn't have a podcast. But even if I didn't have the podcast, I feel like I didn't focus so much on YouTube. I started posting. I took a long break, and then I kind of came back. And even after I came back, I wasn't fully involved in it as much as I would like to, which obviously 100% my own fault. But I then started this podcast. Well, I had a podcast, and then, if you know, like, this one is rebranded from that podcast, so this is now my own, and I feel like once I got into the swing of things with this podcast and realized how much I actually love to do it, how much I love being invested in it, recording, editing, trying to get episodes up, planning episodes, really trying to look at everything. I changed the scenery for this podcast. If you know, I was just sitting in our kitchen. We had like an island in the kitchen that I would just sit at, but the wall behind me was just a blank white wall. And I mean, not that this curtain right now is a little better in the daylight because it just looks like a white blob, but in other episodes, like when I record at night, you can see like there's the curtain, we have the piano, this little light structure that's kind of decorated. Like I feel like it was just a better visual than the white wall behind me. So that was like one thing I definitely wanted to change and invest in a new space to record. Whereas that took a lot of my time, energy, like mental capacity type of situation that I haven't really thought about YouTube as much. And then I started recording lately. I put up a couple videos within a few weeks of each other, actually, which is a lot for me. And I'm realizing that like I can balance both if I really put the time and effort into it. So I feel like I have to really just start pushing myself because obviously I love doing this stuff and I want to do a lot more of this stuff. So I need to get back into trying to balance both, obviously, as well as my day-to-day life. But yeah. The next thing was, am I making the most out of my days? That's the next question. And honestly, I wrote probably not because I feel like I could be using a lot of my time during a lot of days of the week to be getting ahead on work. I always talk about trying to be ahead with this podcast and pre-record, kind of have episodes ready. That way I'm not last minute like, oh, I need to record, I need to schedule, I need to upload, I need to schedule episodes, all that. Like my typical Sunday night record so I could sit there and edit, so I could sit there and schedule it because it's going up on Monday morning. Like that has honestly become such, I would say honestly a routine at this point because I'm just used to like, oh, Sunday night, like I have to record the podcast. There, like the couple days where I have like pre-recorded, like today, I guarantee you on Sunday, I'll feel like I forgot because I pre-recorded. Like I'm so used to just the last minute everything that pre-recording and having things done ahead of time becomes like so nice in the moment that I'm like, oh, I should do this more often. And then I just like fall off it. And that's definitely something I need to get better at. And I keep saying that. But again, it goes back to the podcast and YouTube. If I know I have certain time during the day before I get out of work, and then I usually try to take a little bit of time for myself before I go and get JJ. So I'll come home and either eat or like snack on something because at that point I probably haven't eaten much that day. Or I could come home, do a little bit of work. Like one day I can come home, work on podcast stuff, record, plan an episode, plan multiple episodes, like do my little research, do some type of work. The next day, come home, do YouTube, like plan YouTube stuff, record a YouTube video, like think about when I would have the time to sit and record something. If it's just planning, like a planning day, a recording day, a work day, like that type of stuff, I feel like need to take more time manage of, I guess. My time management is awful, which also becomes my issue. My time management is so bad. It's not even funny. That's one thing I definitely need to get better at. But yeah, I would say most of my days, am I making the most of my days? Probably not, because I just end up not doing things I probably should be doing. Was basically the consensus of that whole spiel. The next question, well, it's actually a double question. The first part is, what has been my biggest achievements and challenges so far this year? And the next question is, what have I learned from them? So I would say my biggest achievements have been, honestly, the views on this podcast. I can never, ever, ever thank you guys enough for how much these views, for some reason, I don't think I'll ever understand what it is, but how the views have like spiked up for this podcast literally shock me every time I look at the numbers. Every time I post like an episode, within like a few hours, I'm looking at numbers and it literally blows my mind. So I love you guys. I thank you guys so much. I like every single one of you that listen or watch this this podcast. Honestly, like with every ounce of me, I thank you guys so much. But I'm just trying to keep doing whatever I'm doing. I honestly don't know what I'm doing to get you guys to be so invested in this, but I am very appreciative of it, and I'm trying to still make it better, still trying to grow some progress. But yeah, that's just like, I would say, one of my biggest achievements right now, because I know from the start, obviously, when you start things, like, you're a beginner, like, you're not gonna just pop and be like, you got it all under control. So when I started this and it was getting, just a little bit of views, the people who are trickling in, if you either came from the podcast before this or if you were new and you found it, obviously, like, when you're new on a platform, people just have to like kind of trickle in, like, you grow an audience. You don't just automatically have one. And the fact that it is just growing and growing and growing in ways I didn't even think it would grow, honestly. Like, I didn't expect anything I did to, like, grow such an audience. But it did, and I'm very, very thankful. Biggest challenges, I would honestly say, like, I don't have my own equipment, if that makes sense. So I do perform on this podcast with majority of it isn't mine. Like, this camera I'm recording with isn't mine. This light feature I have set up on the side, I usually just have for just a little bit of extra light, isn't mine. One of the wires I use for connecting things isn't mine. And I was luckily gifted a lot of this stuff. Julian actually had bought a lot of the stuff I record with for me, which I'm honestly, again, very thankful for. And it has gotten me farther than I probably would be on this podcast. But definitely some challenges. Definitely a lot to figure out in the future with having my own equipment and getting my own things. But so far, just very thankful on what I do have, what I can use, what I have the opportunity to use, what I'm available to, and how far we've gone with this. What have I learned from them? Obviously, everything I just said, with being very grateful, but trying to work towards getting my own stuff, and honestly, like, showing the community what they love. It's not, I feel like I'm also thinking of you guys, obviously, when I'm doing a lot of this stuff, because it's also not just what I want to do and want to talk about, but also like what you guys are interested in. Obviously, yes, it's my podcast. I want to talk about kind of what I want to talk about in a way, but at the same time, if I'm just talking for me, I feel like there's kind of no point, because obviously you guys are coming intrigued in something that I'm talking about, intrigued in something that I have to say. But if you're going to sit here, like, type of thing on the other end, being like, oh, I don't really care about this, you're probably not going to listen. And I honestly can't blame you. But I want to be here to serve you as well as I want to serve myself, if that makes sense. The next question was, what goals have I neglected and what steps can I take to realign them in coming months? So I would say the goals I have neglected. I had social media. I want to be on it a lot more. I want to post a lot more. I want to be more on the Instagram, if I'm being honest, than anything else. But I also want to go back to making shorts and posting on YouTube shorts or reels for Instagram, posts in general for Instagram, being more interactive with you guys. I did make a Twitter just because I didn't know, like, what social media to go on, if I'm being honest. So I made a Twitter to put out videos. So if you still use Twitter, you would see it there too. that I haven't been on like really at all. I thought I would try to be on it more, but I'm so sorry. That just honestly was like the last social media on my mind that I kind of forget most weeks. But at the same time, like, I don't know, I want to be more on social media. I've honestly thought about maybe bringing some like short clips to TikTok, but I honestly haven't used TikTok. I'm really not on TikTok. I have the app downloaded, but I've never actually really been on it. So I'm not a TikTok girly. I'm not a TikTok person. But I feel like if things go on TikTok, they'll be definitely seen and heard and kind of out there, which would really excite me in a way, but we'll see how that goes. The next thing I had was the steps I would take. The only goals I feel like I've neglected has been trying to showcase everything on social media, which is kind of weird if you think about it, like a whole podcast and the goals I'm neglecting is social media. But my steps I would feel like I want to take to realign them in the future going forward. I'm such a big, like, I like to plan things. I love planners. I feel like at some part of the year, like in the beginning of the year, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to use them all the time. I love them, blah, blah, blah. And then I just like forget. I fall off. I do not sit and like go in them whatsoever. But I feel like I need to do like social media planner type situation, to plan out when to post certain things on different social media platforms. That way, like after I record an episode, I edit it, I post a typical episode to YouTube, streaming platforms, all that. That's when should take, as I was saying before, like one of the days between work and getting JJ to have like a work situation, and I can make some shorts. Okay, schedule this one to go up on this social media at this time, or have this to be posted at this time. Like I feel like if I sit and actually plan out a little better and work deeper into what I've already been doing, I feel like I could have a lot more. And I forget what episode I talked about it in, but I kept saying that I wanted more. I didn't know what the more was, but I wanted more like going on. I don't know if it was like I needed to start doing something else, another hobby, another interest of something. I don't know. But I feel like I just keep looking for more to do or more to have, if that makes sense. So I feel like that might be maybe what I'm looking for. I might have just answered my own like thoughts over here, but I don't know, just I guess steps to take would just be a lot more planning, which for me, I felt like I planned a lot already, but I guess not enough, or planning the wrong things. I don't know. The next question was, are my recent choices reflective of who I want to be? And honestly, this was actually a question I didn't know how to answer. I wasn't quite sure. I would honestly probably say probably not if I didn't know how to answer this question to begin with. I haven't really been focused on everything I want to be focused on. Obviously, like I am kind of focused on this podcast, but I do also want to be focused more, like I just said, social media, all that stuff, knowing what to put out there, what people will like, what people want to see. I want to obviously be back on my YouTube and all that stuff. Obviously, if I'm focusing so much on this, I obviously need to be planning time for like my son and personal life, seeing like friends, family, still making time for like myself, which obviously in everything I just said, clearly you could see the part that I'm neglecting, which is like the time for myself. I have lately just been like in a really good reading era. I've been finishing books so fast, which has not been like me, but I've been loving it. So I'm not saying like I've been neglecting my me time, but I feel like every chance I get, I'm sitting there and I'm watching Mickey Mouse with my son, which, don't get me wrong, absolutely love. I think I might be able to quote some Mickey episodes coming up, but I love it. Going on walks. He loves car rides right now, so just going on random car rides, whether I'm going to get a coffee or going to the store, picking up an order I placed online or something. He just loves being in the car. But then right after that, I'm thinking about podcast stuff or I'm thinking about what I can do for YouTube. I honestly feel like I just planned to record something for like last week, or I think it's this week, honestly, that I like scratched. Like I did not do it. I was like, no, never mind, which is what I hate, because then I'm like, oh, I want to be right into it, and then I plan stuff, and then I'm like, no, never mind, and then I'm like, well, this is why you're not into it. But anyways, so I would honestly say, I guess my answer would go back to no. But at the same time, yes, because everything I am doing, I've fallen so in love with, and I love the way most of my days go, because during the week, it's strictly like most of the time, wake up, get my son up, get him ready for daycare, drop him off, go to work. But like after that, it's like a pick him up, and it's like dinner, playtime, walk time, be outside for a little bit, watch a movie, watch TV shows, like get him ready for bed. Like that in between is what I also really love. And at the end of the day, when I'm sitting on the couch, either putting on my show or reading a book, if I'm not thinking about like the YouTube stuff, I don't know, like that's just what I look forward to. So if I'm looking forward to it, I feel like that's just what I should be doing. Like this is what I love to do, so that's what I'm going to do. If any of that even made sense. I feel like I just went on such a ramble and none of it probably made sense. The last question is, am I taking care of my mental, emotional, and physical needs? Honestly, all three of those at the same time, probably not. But at the same time, like I'm trying very hard. I've been really trying to balance a lot. Noticing when I need to rest and stop working on something, even if I want to, whether I'm on the computer and just looking at a number and I'm like, oh my God, this is what I just thought of. I need to start working on this. And I'm like, no, shut off the laptop, take time for your son, take time for yourself, watch this movie. Oh, this show just dropped a new episode. Why not throw it on and just kind of enjoy the night type of thing. So, kind of my life has just been like working. I got back into a reading phase. I kind of hopped out of it a little bit, but I'm so glad I've gotten back into it. So that's been a really good time for me too. Definitely what I, like I said, want to be doing. So I think that's what's really important, is that I'm focusing on what I want to be doing and sometimes not what I should be doing, which probably sounds really bad. And if I'm like, you should be doing it, like I should be doing it, but I don't know. Obviously, like you have the whole, you should take time for you. You should relax. You should be doing what you want to do. There's always tomorrow type of situation, which for some things probably isn't the mentality to have, but I like to have that mentality. I don't know. I don't know if any of that made sense. This is what I'm saying. Like, I appreciate you guys coming and listening to my little rambles of just thoughts that pop into my head that I need to get out before I forget, because I feel like, knowing me, sometimes I'll be like mid-sentence and probably forget what I want to be saying. But like I said, that was a little bit of a deep dive into some of these questions. Some of them were really easy for me to answer, and some of them I really had to think about. And honestly, when I said it out loud, like I read some of it on the screen, but at the same time, when I said it out loud, it changed my perspective on the answer. So, I don't know. But with that being said, I love you guys so much. Make sure to check in with yourself and see how you're doing with your little mid-year check-in. Whether it's work, personal, family matters, anything. Just see how you're doing mid-year. See what you can improve on in the next coming months to finish off the year. We're going to finish 2024 off strong. The fact that we're halfway through this year literally blows my mind, honestly, but it's crazy. It's actually crazy. From when I'm recording this, my birthday's in 2 months, which is kind of crazy to me that we're halfway through the year and then my birthday is coming up so fast. My birthday is towards the end of the year. It's within the last 3 months. My birthday's in September. So I feel like when we start the year, like I feel like I just have forever until we get down there. And then now, like, you blink and we're halfway through. Like, that's insane. Crazy. Next thing you know, it's going to be like Halloween. And then it's going to be Thanksgiving. And right after Thanksgiving, Christmas comes so fast. So I feel like we're going to blink in another blink of an eye. It's going to be Christmas time. And I'm going to be stressed and trying to Christmas shop last minute because that's what always happens every year for me. I need to stop doing that, but that's what happens every year. But anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next week back with a brand new episode. Bye.